You're listening to the Plain Talking UK podcast, a UK-based podcast written by a passenger for anyone. And here are your hosts, Carl Stebbings and Matt Smith.
Well, hello and welcome to episode number 99 of the Plain Talking UK podcast. I'm Carl Stebbings and, well, he's not quite in the kitchen studio this week, and we're not in the conservatory studio.
No.
Well, Matt is.
I am, yes. One of us is.
Yes, for those of you who do follow us on Facebook will know that I'm currently residing in Las Vegas.
Yes, we're all very jealous about that, by the way. And the thing is I foolishly gave Carl my mobile number, so it basically means I've been barraged with what I can only describe as, well, nauseating photographs, frankly. It looks like you've been having an absolutely horrible time. And
It's horrible.
Is it? Yes. It's and I think it's fair to say you've had a very nice flight out there.
We did, yes. Thanks to Captain Nick from the APG crew. We had rather an eventful flight out here with Acme Red, I should say. Yes. It made the start of the holiday, absolutely fantastic. We thoroughly enjoyed ourselves immensely, and we got rather spoilt. We had a very nice flight out. The crew were fantastic. Special mention to the senior flight attendant Julie, who looked after us very well on the flight. And also to Alan and Mark, our pilots on the flight as well, if they're watching. We had a brilliant flight, and we're here. I still when we walk outside the hotel, I still look around and think, my God, we're in Vegas.
Absolutely, yes. So, have you been doing what is the norm, shall I say? Have you been venturing outside into the den of iniquity, I suppose, that is Vegas?
Yes, we have been. We've been out and about looking at various sites, which there are plenty of around Vegas, as those in the chat room who have been here will know. Dr. Steph, I know that she's been here. There's a lot of interesting things to see, not just the buildings either,
right. Okay.
but the people as well.
Are we allowed to elaborate, or is that wandering into the realms of legal action?
Well, there are a lot of people here dishing out various flyers advertising what could only be described as nighttime entertainment.
Oh, splendid. Right. Lovely. Sounds charming. Yes, excellent. Okay, yeah, we'll walk away from that before we end up in terrible trouble.
So, welcome to everyone in the chat room. I notice we've got, it's filling up quite nicely now. Mila's in there, Nick, Captain Nick's in there, Dr. Steph's in there, Dan Hannington, Shortbacker's in there, student pilot Matty Fab is in there as well. We've got Bert is in there.
Hello, Bert.
And I'm scrolling up to the top here in
yes.
case I've missed anyone. We've got we've got some nice people from all many sides of the world. Actually, mind you, Dr. Steph's not actually too far away from me. She's only across the desert there. Somewhere.
Indeed, she's actually more or less where you are. So
yeah. There is a time difference actually between me and Dr. Steph.
Is there?
There is. Yeah,
it's nowhere near as.
She's a couple of hours ahead of me, I think.
Right. Okay. What in life or just? Indeed.
So do you want the quick view then?
Yeah, go on then. Let's go on. Spoil us. Yeah, here we go then. So apologies to those of you who are listening on the old podcast, but if you want to have a look at the view, take yourself to youtube.com/Plain Talking UK. This is episode 99, and this is the view from Carlos's bedroom window. What a view that is! So come on, talk us through the sites. What can we see in the background?
Well, I can't actually see because I'm seeing a delayed view here, but what you should hopefully be able to see there is the Paris, which is like the Eiffel Tower type.
Right over in the far right-hand corner.
Over in the far right-hand corner. If I go like this, you might see it better.
Yeah,
microphone's just gone for a
Lovely.
burn.
Okay. Oh, hello.
I trust you can still hear me.
Yes, we're now having a tour of the apartment.
Sorry.
Look of it. Sorry.
There we go. Is that better?
That's much better. So you're in Paris.
You can probably see down there the fountains at the Bellagio, the famous Bellagio fountains.
Not running, I see.
And moving across, there's Trump Towers.
Right.
Mr. Trump's towery place over there.
He's proving to be a popular fellow, isn't he?
He is, yeah. And look down there. There's the swimming pools at the Bellagio behind the Bellagio.
Okay, so that's where you're staying at the Bellagio.
Oh no! We're at the Vidara. We're behind the Bellagio.
Oh right, okay.
And you could probably see across there. That's the Rio
Wow.
Hotel, which is where Penn and Teller are playing.
Yep.
Over there at the Rio. That's that purpley reddy coloured hotel. And across there you've got the Palms Hotel. And look at the freeway. We have to call these a freeway.
I know.
Freeway.
Can you imagine if we ever had anything?
Which actually is.
Go on. Like I say, can you imagine if we ever had anything like that here in the UK? I mean, it's just like.
So that is the view that we have every day, basically.
Wow, that's horrible. So what have you been up to while have you been to see any stage shows while you've been there?
So let me just get back onto the desk.
Yes.
Oh,
okay.
There we go.
Yeah, you're gonna have to tilt yourself up a bit, please, sir.
Yes. Sorry, I'm just moving things back. There we go.
There we go. Thank you. That's
so.
Yeah.
So we've been seeing David Copperfield.
Oh wow.
The legend that is David Copperfield.
Yeah.
Which is really, really good.
Yeah.
And we've got a show tonight to go and see, the Rat Pack show tonight.
Oh right. Yeah. Oh, right up your street then.
Yes, that's right up my street. I've got my waistcoat, my shirt, and my tie.
Right.
Ready to put on for that tonight. So that's
splendid. Okay.
Awesome. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic. Well, with that in mind, then I suppose we better get stuck in.
Yes. We've got a shortened news segment for today, but we have got some news.
Absolutely.
And a few bits, and we have got a massive bit of very important news to come at the end of the show.
Yes, all about us
with regards to our 100th episode.
Absolutely. Yes. So let's get stuck in then. You've disappeared again. Just
sorry, there you go.
Thank you very much. Okay, so if we're all ready then, ladies and gentlemen, I'll leave you as always, Carl, to do the necessary.
So we're going to start the show then, as we do each week, with our rundown of the weekly news from around the world and the UK. So if you're ready, Matt.
Here in the UK, yes, I am very much ready. Yeah, absolutely. And you in Vegas?
Let's go. So, kicking off this week's first news story on the Business Traveller site, and the headline, new aircraft deliveries for BA. So, British Airways last week took delivery of its 11th A380 Super Jumbo. The aircraft, which seats 469 passengers, currently flies to 7 destinations around the world. Hong Kong, Johannesburg, Los Angeles, Miami, San Francisco, Singapore, and Washington, D.C. The final 12th aircraft due for delivery is due to arrive later this year. It also received its 6th Boeing 787-9 Dreamliner. The 216-seater 787-9 has first class on board, 8 seats of those, as well as Club World, World Traveller Plus, and World Traveller. It departed on its first commercial flight last Thursday as BA 095 to Montreal. British Airways is due to take delivery of 16 787-9s, the Dreamliners, which are 20 feet longer than the 787-8 predecessor, of which the airline has 8 already in service. Back in service are 2 of the airline's refurbished 747 fleet, the 6th 18 iconic 747s. This went back into service on Saturday, making its first flight since the revamp to Boston as BA 213. The refurbished 747s have more club seating or business class seating on board. And the refurbished 747s will fly customers between Heathrow and New York, JFK, Chicago, Lagos, Dubai, Boston, Ryder, Kuwait, and Saudi Arabia from this Tuesday. The 18 of British Airways 747s being carried out by the refits being carried out by BA engineers in Cardiff, and involve a cabin interior refresh to bring them in line with the airline's newest aircraft. Each 4-cabin plane is being fitted with an additional 16 club seats, bringing the total number of fully lie-flat beds and premium leisure travellers to 86. New seat foams are being installed in World Traveller and World Traveller Plus to increase customer comfort. That's a good idea, because those seats are a bit thin. And also they're having mood lighting fitted in every cabin, which is that lovely that kind of purpley colour that Boeing use a lot on their newer aircraft, I think. Each aircraft's also being fitted with the latest Panasonic's next generation EX3 entertainment systems, giving customers a choice of over 13,000 hours of entertainment, including more than 130 movies and 400 TV programs on larger high-resolution screens with a touch and swipe gesture, as in like you have with a tablet. That's quite nice.
Absolutely. Can I just ask you to tilt your camera down a little bit, so we've lost the bottom of your chin? There we go. Thank you, sir.
There we go.
Very kind. So yes, this is quite exciting. So this is on their, so they're retrofitting as well as putting it on the new aircraft then.
Yeah, they're trying. Obviously, because the 747s are a lot older aircraft. They're the 787s, the new ones that are coming online, are obviously coming in with a refreshed interior, different colours, different kind of seats and stuff. So they're trying to bring the older aircraft back up to what the newer aircraft look like inside. So it's kind of a same thing through the whole fleet, rather than having old interiors and kind of new interiors. So that's good.
EasyJet have been doing something similar, haven't they? Because they started they started retrofitting some of their older A321s, didn't they? With the same narrower seats. But as I say, from my point of view, I've found that actually I've ended up with more legroom as a direct result, which is quite cool. But yes. Anyway, on to the next story. This is on Travel Mole, and the headline is Thomson unveils Mr. and Mrs. Dreamliners. In a UK first, Thomson Airways has named its 8th and 9th Dreamliner aircraft as Mr. Patmore and Mrs. Patmore, following a nationwide search to find the most romantic story. This has got a real Downton Abbey ring about it. But anyway, Hayley and Chris Patmore from Kent entered a competition launched by Thomson in the run-up to Valentine's Day on Sunday. The couple met 22 years ago on holiday with their families in Great Yarmouth. Oh no, in Great Yarmouth.
I know, it's our local. It's local to us.
Yeah, absolutely. When they were both just 13, the pair kept their teenage romance alive by writing to one another, but they lost contact after a year, only to be reunited 3 years on the very same holiday. Years into their relationship, Mrs. Patmore viewed an old holiday video of herself as a 3-year-old on a swing and noticed that the little boy on the swing next to her was her future husband. But they weren't to meet for another 10 years. Thomson Airways MD John Murphy said last year, "We were really proud to welcome 2 more 787 Dreamliners onto our revolutionary fleet. Receiving delivery of 2 aircraft offered us a unique opportunity to name them as a pair, an opportunity which we gave back to our customers." The response to the hashtag Dreamliner Love competition was overwhelming. Mr. and Mrs. Patmore's story captured our attention, and we look forward to taking the newly named aircraft to the skies. In addition to having 2 aircraft named after them, the couple were awarded £100, which they plan to use to take their children on holiday for their wedding anniversary.
Oh,
isn't that nice? Yes, I feel quite sick now, frankly. Positively nauseated.
I remember them running this competition actually to name the aircraft and stuff, and I remember that. So it was early last year they started the competition. So it's been quite a while in the in the sort of process as such. But at least, I mean, imagine that, being able to say to your friends, "Oh, by the way, my name is on the side of one of Thomson Airlines aircraft." It
is such a cool thing, isn't it? It is such a cool thing to be able to say that that's exactly what what you've got going on. It's stunning, isn't it? Oh.
So I'm just looking in the chat room, and Captain Jeff has said, "Is he allowed to drive his coach that high and in reverse?"
Yes, I'm a coach driver. I can do whatever the heck I like, Captain Jeff. Thank you very much.
Don't worry, Jeff. Next week, Matt will have the image of a coach in.
Will I? Him. Oh, right. Okay. All right. Yes. Yeah, sorry. Those listening on the podcast, apologies. Yes, we've been playing with the video technology here in the studio. This is what happens when Carl goes away on holiday and leaves me to just set up the studio myself. The reins and constraints that they normally put on me have been removed, shall we say? So I've been experimenting. It has to be said. But anyway, enough of that.
Are we still good for the stream? Stream still good?
Yeah, I think so.
We're still good?
Yes.
Excellent.
So, yes, on to the next story then, Carl.
Is on the Telegraph travel site. And the headline, Aeroflot, from world's deadliest airline to one of the safest in the skies.
Oh, wow.
Wow, there's a nice little picture there, but I don't expect you can probably put that
Yes, we can do that
here.
Oh, yes, absolutely.
Of the Aeroflot cabin crew. So the story then, Aeroflot was founded this week back in 1923 and is now being classed as one of the world's safest airlines on the website airlineratings.com, which judges the vulnerability of carriers according to the number of criteria gives it maximum 7-star rating, placing it alongside the likes of Qantas, BA, and ahead of Ryanair.
Whoa.
The Russian airline has been involved in just one fatal accident in the past 20 years. But it wasn't always like this. Aeroflot's safety record was once the stuff of nervous flyers' nightmares, and the numbers are truly staggering. During 1973 alone, it was involved in 27 incidents in which a total of 780 people lost their lives, according to the Aviation Safety Network. In 1974, there were another 21, while in 1975 the figure fell to 19. But 1976,
yeah, good year that, good year.
Good year was a real annus horribilis, with a total of 33 incidents or major incidents. In fact, the graph below, which you probably can see, Matt will put on the screen, the graph below shows barely a Cold War year went by when scores of travellers didn't spend their final moments strapped into an Aeroflot seat as its planes fell from the sky in unerring consistency.
Oh, great, yes.
So that's a total of 721
story.
incidents in 44 years. Aeroflot wasn't the only airline to suffer during the 60s and 70s, the deadliest decades for flying, but it was involved in far more than any other. The aircraft crash record office reports 8,231 passengers have died in Aeroflot crashes. Air France is next on the list with 1,783, followed by Pan Am with 1,645, American with 1,442, and United with 1,211, and then TWA with 1,077. Wow. Yeah. That's definitely food for thought. So its all-Russian fleet was another factor. The reliability of Russian aircraft can be summed up by the fact that the airlineratings.com continues to deduct a star for any airline that operates using only Russian-built aircraft. Marks are lost if the airline is not audited by the IATA, or International Air Transport Association. It's not endorsed by the FAA, the Federal Aviation Administration, and is on the EU's blacklist or has had a fatal accident in the last decade. Back in 2013, airlineratings.com released a list of the 10 least safe aircraft models. Topping the charts was the Czech LET 410, introduced in 1970, but 5 Russian aircraft were also present, including a staple of Aeroflot's Cold War fleet, the Tu-154. Blimey, the worrying thing is that many years ago I actually flew on a Tu-134
right
to Yugoslavia. That wasn't with Aeroflot, that was with a Yugoslavian airline,
right.
But yeah, I actually flew on one of those, a Tu-134 Russian-built aircraft. But obviously they're being classed now as one of the safest in the world.
Really?
So, but I do know that Aeroflot have actually started buying a lot more Western aircraft, Western-built aircraft, like the Boeing and Airbus. They're flying a lot more of those now. And they're starting to kind of phase out a lot of these older aircraft, the Tu-154s and the Tu-134s. There's a picture on that story, actually, of a Tu-154,
right.
Which is a 3-engine aircraft. kind of a similar looking aircraft ish to probably you could compare it to the 727 slightly, but the Tu-154 has got like a quite a large T-tail, and but no, it's definitely an interesting story, that one.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So anyway, on to the next story. I've just had to turn my green screen off for a minute because the light's gone here and it's sort of playing havoc with it. So we've got a green backdrop for the next story. But this is on the Travel Pulse website, and the headline is British Airways to challenge Ryanair's dominance at Stansted. And this is interesting. Is there much stuff from British Airways go into Stansted then?
No, I think this is the first a new thing, isn't it? I think BA flying from standards. This is a totally new thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is for years. Low cost carriers have been using secondary airports to offer cheap flights to the same cities that are served by major airlines. While British Airways, for example, focused on Heathrow, Ryanair operated flights out of London Stansted. These two airlines rarely come face to face at the same airports. Now, though, British Airways is making an unexpected move. It will start offering flights out of Stansted for the first time. Not only will the IAG-owned giant be operating on Ryanair's turf, it will also be competing with the Irish low-cost carrier directly. BA has announced flights from London's third largest airport to Stansted Spanish vacation destinations like Ibiza, Malaga and Palma, and the Portuguese summertime haven of Faro. The flights will be operated by BA City Flyer, which is a wholly owned subsidiary of the British flag carrier. The planes that will be used for these flights currently operate out of another area hub, London City Airport. Ryanair will be flying exactly the same routes out of Stansted. Why is BA choosing to go head-to-head with its with the low-cost competitors like this? Well, it's basically, how can BA win? That's a good question. Ryanair should still be able to win on price, and it is more established on these specific holiday routes. When announcing its services earlier this week, BA said that the fares would start at £49 one way. Ryanair's lowest fare to the same group of routes is currently £25 one way. Even with the price difference, seats on City Flyer's outbound flights, which are thus far only scheduled on Saturdays, appear to be selling well. Planes for earlier summer trips are nearly filled already. At least at the start, BA will do away with some of the extra fees that it charges at other London airports. For example, passengers won't have to pay extra to pre-select a seat. This alone would draw enough flyers to fill weekly flights. Though Ryanair can win a price war, it will probably not come out on top when it comes to service or extra fees. At least one of the initial goals of the Stansted service seems to be to test the idea and to see if there are enough Ryanair refugees to fill a plane. I like that. Refugees. Yeah, absolutely. What a terrible image that is. Oh, well, good luck to British Airways on that one then. I don't know. I think they might have a bit of a fight on their hands, though.
Yeah, I was interested to see when you're saying about that story, Matt. That'd be interesting to see what the prices are when BA eventually do fly from there, or when they start flying from there, as to what the comparison is between a flight from, because it says here that BA are going to be flying to sort of a lot of the popular kind of beach destinations which a lot of us in the UK here fly to, like Ibiza, Malaga and Palma and stuff like Portugal and Faro. So it'd be interesting to see the comparison of prices, when you add on your luggage and your bits and pieces, what the difference will be. Because obviously the BA service, or the the standard of service, is going to obviously be a lot better than Ryanair.
One would hope so.
Hopefully. But I mean, it's definitely one that we're going to have to look back at in the future, Matt, to see what
the outcome's going to be.
Cheapest.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I'd imagine they'll use their short haul fleet on this on these routes, kind of the A319s, A320s that BA have. They'll use on these short haul routes. But, this is definitely one to watch, and obviously gives people a bit more choice as well. If you don't want to fly with Ryanair, then you can fly with BA.
Absolutely, yeah, you definitely can. Yeah, that's a no-brainer, isn't it? As you say. Well, we'll have to watch this space. I think have to watch this space.
So next story is on the 5NBCDFW.com website. So it's one of the sites over here in the US, and it's actually regarding an aircraft. I think that that someone in the chat room knows very, very well.
Really?
So the headline: American Airlines plane makes emergency landing at DFW Airport. So American Airlines Flight 1318 made an emergency landing at DFW Airport yesterday afternoon. Flight 1318 took off from San International Jose Airport in California. I hope I pronounced that right. Heading for DFW. The pilot declared an emergency on final approach when an indicator light in the cockpit reported a possible mechanical issue with the landing gear, according to an American Airlines spokesperson. The MD-80 landed safely, and the aircraft was evacuated by the crews, and no injuries were reported. There's a shot on there. There's actually a video as well that someone's took of that aircraft. There's a photo as well, which Matt will probably be able to put on the screen.
Yep.
Of the aircraft on the taxi. I should imagine that's a taxi, or the runway. That's probably on actually. The aircraft. So that's the Mad Dog. That is Matt for the.
Yeah.
As Jeff, because Captain Jeff is actually he can fly one of those wonderful aircraft. And I have to say, do you know what I saw when we were out yesterday? There was an American Airlines flight came in here into McCarran Airport in Vegas, and it flew literally over the top of us because we were on the flight path here right into the airport. And I have to say it will always be one of my favourite. The kind of paint scheme that American Airlines have with that polished aluminium or aluminum for our American listeners.
Dear, yes.
The fuselage they have, because I just think it looks so good in that polished sort of aluminum fuselage. But
just because you are in the States,
Jeff said anything in the chat room or not. Let's have a look here. No. Oh, Jeff's put whoopsies in the chat room.
Yeah. Oh, right. Oh, really? Oh, dear.
Oh, Tony S. Hello, Tony.
Fantastic. Yeah. Well, it's like I say, just because you are in the States means you can't carry on, using the phrase aluminum. By the way, that's absolutely not allowed.
Sorry.
I should just stress you're only there for a week. All right.
Okay.
Okay. Yes. Anyway, on to the next story, and this is on the UK Yahoo website, and the headline is: the German leisure airliner Condor celebrates 60 years. Frankfurt in Germany. This is February the 11th. The story was released, and the February the 11th. Germany's most popular leisure airline celebrates 60 years. On May the 29th, 1956, the first Condor plane took off in Frankfurt, Germany, formerly operating under the name Deutsche I'm not very good. Deutsche Flugdienst GmbH. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce that, so apologies there. It's formerly operating under the name of Deutsche Why are you doing this to me on purpose? Since then, the Condor has made aviation history and has developed from a pioneer into the most popular leisure airline in Germany. The year 2016 will be the main focus of this anniversary, with celebrations and special events all year round. Condor flights will also paint one of its aircraft in an anniversary special livery and update followers and fans on its anniversary page on the blogging platform Tumblr, which is http://60years.condor.com. Fans and hashtag AVGeeks can look forward to historical picture galleries, short videos, information on activities, competitions, and reports from former passengers. I do look terribly unwell on the video, don't I? In the last 60 years, Condor has grown to be a strong brand and has established itself firmly in the market, says Ralph Teckenberg, the chairman of Condor's chief executive board. Much has changed over the decades, but one thing has remained the same. We take people To the best holiday destinations, we now offer 75 dream locations, considerably more than we offered in the 1950s. The airline's first flight in 1956 with a Vickers Viking was to the Holy Land, Jerusalem and Egypt. During the first year of operations, Mallorca and Tenerife were also included in the flight schedule. To satisfy the ever-growing demand, Condor continuously increased the number of destinations through the years. The next milestone followed in 1966, leading to the first long-haul flights to Thailand, Sri Lanka, Kenya and the Dominican Republic. The expansion of the route network will continue during the anniversary year. 4 new Greek destinations, Axaros Patras, Volos, Zakynthos, and Kevlar, as well as flights from Frankfurt to Austin, Texas, will be added in June. Starting summer 2016, weekly flights from Munich will be added to the following destinations: Halifax, Canada, that's Windhoek, Nambia, Havana, Cuba, as well as Zanzibar, Tanzania and Mombasa in Kenya. Further information on the history of Condor can be found at the Condor newsroom. So there we are. As I say, it's exciting times then.
Condor, I've obviously seen their aircraft flying around quite a bit. Yeah. We saw lots of these in Fuerteventura, in the Canary Islands last year. But they've been going quite a few years, since 1956, but they've got quite a small fleet actually, only 48 aircraft. I thought they had more than that, but they've got 48 aircraft in their fleet, but they fly to 91 destinations. Right. And their company slogan is "Born to Fly." But they've got a mixed fleet. Condor. They've got Airbus and Boeing products. They've got the 320, 321s, the 330. They've got one of those 330s. They've also got a 757-300, a slightly larger 300 series of the 75. And they've also, Condor have also got 16 767-300 ERs. Right. As well, the sort of long-haul aircraft. But 2 of those are operated by Thomas Cook. Which actually, on a side note, Matt, I don't know whether you saw in the news this week back at home. Yeah. But Thomson, the Holidays part of Thomson, and Thomas Cook are actually going to cease to exist soon. Yes. I sent you the story. Yes, I did spot that. Yeah, it's very, very sad. Very sad indeed. Sad. Yeah. I mean, you've flown them with a lot, haven't you? Yeah. I mean, I've flown Thomson Airways quite a bit. I have over the years, but we've also, in the past booked holidays through Thomson and Thomas Cook. Yeah. But they're being absorbed into the TUI group, which are obviously huge in Europe, and they're going to be that's going to be just branded as TUI. So they'll still have the smiley logo, the red. Okay. Yeah. Logo, but they'll be branded as TUI, not Thomson anymore. Well, and that's a bit of a shame, really. But then I guess it's a bit like American Airlines and all that kind of thing. I guess it was inevitable once it had been bought out. So joining together and sort of all combining their the different companies together to make one big, huge company. Absolutely, so, agreed. Oh, the main man, Micah. Hello, Micah. Micah's in the chat room. Hello to you, the main man, Micah. It's lovely to have you in the chat room. God, we've got lots of APG listeners in here, so we better be on our best behaviour. Oh dear! Oh right. So sorry, I'm being interrupted by a helicopter flying past my window, which is as you do. Good. Yeah. Because we are up on the 53rd floor of the Vidara Hotel here in Vegas. So we are only 4 floors, I think, from the top of the. Oh right! Oh, so quite scary. Not quite in the penthouse suite then, but not quite in the penthouse suite. No, I can't afford that. No. Obviously, the likes of Captain Nick and obviously Captain Jeff, and they could afford the penthouse suites. Oh, stop it! Not me. Anyway, move on before you get into trouble. So next story on the Air Transport World site. Headline is Lufthansa takes second A320neo. First neo engine issues to resolve by April. So the story, Lufthansa has taken delivery of its second Airbus A320neo in Hamburg. Its first A320neo, which was delivered in January this year with Pratt & Whitney's PW1100G engines, will keep operating on domestic routes within Germany until its engine issues are resolved. According to Lufthansa's chairman and CEO, Carsten Sofer, the first A320neo delivered in January followed a delay from the re-engined narrowbody's planned end of 2015 delivery schedule. The engine was certified in November, but in December, Qatar Airways stepped back as the planned first operator due to the engine restrictions. Pratt is working hard with hardware changes and a software update for the PW1100G engine until those changes are made. And the engine has to idle for 3 minutes following startup before it can taxi under its own power. It's really a software issue, and they expect by April most of this will be completed, Pratt & Whitney's president Robert Leduc said. The A320neo is within an introduction mode operating a reduced flight plan due to teething issues, and there have been 4 flight cancellations since beginning scheduled services, Sofa said. As soon as they have the issues resolved, the new aircraft will fly all over the network. Lufthansa Technik has laid out all technical, operational and personnel foundations for complete technical support of the A320neo. In the first step, the employees at the Frankfurt hub were trained in Hamburg and Munich and equipped with all the necessary resources. The Lufthansa Group has ordered 116 A320neos. 60 aircraft will be delivered with the new Pratt & Whitney PW1100G JM engine from Pratt & Whitney, and that's good for our balance sheet because fuel prices will stay at low levels, said Sofa. Airbus CEO Fabrice Brigier said that delivery ceremony, this is the start of a journey to make sure the operational performance and reliability increase for the A320neos to improve on the technical issues and not the major ones. The A320neo is slated to deliver 15% fuel savings over the A320ceo, which is the current engine option, increasing to 20% by 2020.
Right.
Gosh. So there we go. So I mean, they've got teething issues with the engine, not the aircraft itself.
Right.
These 320neos.
I mean, that is always going to be the risk with a new engine, though, isn't it? I mean, you know, the clue is in the name, new engine option, isn't it?
But I mean, if you're going to have engine problems or anything like that, I mean, Lufthansa have got some of the best, the best hangar technical people in the business. Really, they've got some quite big hangars at various places around Europe where they can do a lot of technical, mechanical maintenance work and stuff. And one of those is actually they've got a really large hangar on the island of Malta, where I go. On holiday, they've got a huge hangar there in Malta. Which I saw last year. They had they had an A340-600 in there.
Gosh.
Having sort of some work and stuff done, but they've got a really good sort of group of engineers,
right,
with the space to work on aircraft such as these. So
cool.
If anyone's going to have any trouble with these aircraft, at least Lufthansa have got the ability to get it sorted.
It's in the right place to be sorted, as you say.
Oh yeah,
absolutely. Anyway,
so the last bit,
yes,
we've got a top 10.
We have, yes, and this is on the National Business website, and it is basically, the headline is, where are we? Sorry, it is the top 10 worst habits of plane passengers. So the top 10 worst habits of plane passengers. Travelling by plane can be an etiquette minefield for frequent flyers. But according, do you like that? Etiquette. That's a lovely word, isn't it? But according to a survey by London City Airport released last month, the worst thing a passenger can do is in the list that we're about to read out. So, if you are ready then, Carl.
I'm ready here.
So, in at number 10.
Right, so at number 10 then, and this is the the top 10 worst habits. So at number 10 then it is hogging the window and blocking the view. That comes in at 19%.
90%. Yeah, they
people.
See, in the world of Matt, that doesn't bother me because the last thing I want to do is actually see out of the window. I can't think of anything worse. But,
the thing of it is on the Dreamliner, the windows are a lot bigger.
Right.
So technically, and also they do say that on the Dreamliner that they say that no matter where you sit,
yes,
you can always see out of the window.
Right. Ooh, there we go. Anyway, number 9.
So at number 9, it's swearing without a care for who is in earshot.
Yeah, well, this annoys me in life. This annoys me in life in general. It's got nothing to do with being. It's not airplane.
And my wife Gemma's just pointing at me saying, "That's you."
Yes. You know, I can understand why, because she, yeah, indeed. Honestly, the things that come out of his mouth before we start going live, ladies and gentlemen, you can only imagine. Potty mouth comes to mind. Potty mouth.
Will you blinking shut up?
Oh,
please?
stop it. Okay. Anyway, number 8.
At number 8, it's putting their feet in the gaps between the seats so they poke you in the shoulder.
Oh
yes.
Do people actually do that?
33% that one.
Do people actually do that though?
Oh yeah,
really?
They do. I've seen them do it. Yeah, I've seen them do it. Yeah, especially on a long haul flight, they do it.
Well, that's absolutely outrageous.
Yeah.
Anyway, number 7.
Number 7 is constantly getting up to retrieve items from the overhead lockers. That's 34%.
Yeah, it's all right if you're the one on the end, I suppose. It's not
I mean, that is why you should always book an aisle seat,
right.
Because then you've not got to upset anyone when you get out to go for a restroom break or to grab something out of the overhead bins.
Comfort break, darling. That's what we call it in the trade.
Sorry,
Comfort break.
I've been here so long now. I call them restrooms.
Honestly. Oh, Captain Jeff, please take him off my hands, will you? Anyway, at number 6.
Number 6, it is rushing off the plane to be the first in the passport queue. That's 40%, that one. No, that's definitely one that always amuses me because, you know, you have the when you apply, as soon as the aircraft, literally, as soon as those wheels touch the tarmac, you can hear the seatbelts
unclicking and
and that really frustrates me, being a conscientious passenger and someone who knows, I hope I know the ins and outs of how
I should hope so by now.
Operate. But that really does annoy me.
Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, it's number 5.
Talking loudly to their travel companions so you can't hear yourself think. That's in at 43%. Yeah, that is kind of I haven't had that too much.
Yeah.
Normally on the sort of before you take off, that's kind of when people are kind of, hello, are you all right? Yes, how are you? Yes, where are you going? I'm going here. You get that sort of
Right. Okay. Well, there we are, ladies and gentlemen. Advice for life in general. And number 4.
Number 4, carrying hand luggage that is clearly too big. So some poor person has to put theirs in the hold. That's in at 49%.
Absolutely. Number 3. We're going to move away. We're going to move away from that one straight on to number 3.
Number 3. Now this is a real. Bugbear. Being rude to cabin crew. A thank you costs nothing, which is very true.
Good point. Yeah, absolutely.
I always say, if you're nice to them, they'll be nice to you.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you say, 53% there. So I mean, I was, over half of people agree that that's an outrageous thing to do on an aeroplane. But anyway,
actually, Micah in the chat rooms said a very good point. Actually, that he finds that actually getting off the plane faster by staying in his seat and waiting. That is actually very true, Micah.
Yeah,
because I wait until all the people have they've had their fights and they've thrown luggage at each other, and then I get off. And I just walk off.
Yeah.
With no hassles at all.
No hurry. Yeah, absolutely. Anyway, the penultimate one, it is number 2.
Number 2 is planting their elbow firmly on the armrest to leave no room for you.
Yeah,
this is 5%.
This is a personal space issue, isn't it? It's just like people's. Mind you, I don't think anybody likes anybody sort of getting in the way, as it were.
I think the trouble is as well, the armrests are really narrow. I mean, it's not. And mind you, if you're sitting together with someone, you can always put the armrest up on most aircraft, so it's out of the way.
Absolutely. And finally, in at the top of the chart, it's number 1.
So at number 1, and this is one that really annoys me, at 63%. and this is reclining their seats so far back that they are practically in your lap.
Well, yeah, which is all right if you don't mind having someone in your lap.
Well, if you're on a Ryanair flight, you're not going to be reclining your seat anyway.
No, that's true. That's not happening. No, absolutely, completely not.
But I live by a rule that if it's meal serving time, if the meals are being served on the aircraft, then I'm not going to sit there and put my seat back into the lap of the person behind me, because that's just damn rude.
No, absolutely.
But once the meal service is done or drink service is done and stuff, and the lights are turned down for a long haul flight, then to recline your seat, as long as you're not sort of forcing it back into the lap of the person behind you, I think is okay. But
yes, I must say the chat room is discussing the cabin crew etiquette.
Really?
At great length. It's worth a read. It's just to say I hate reclining seats, but I suppose at most of the airlines that I fly on, I don't get reclining seats anyway, because I'm usually flying in cattle class. So, but I think I told you before, didn't I, when I went out to stop it. When I went out to New Zealand, and I had a problem where the guy in front of me literally braced the seat so that I couldn't recline it, which was really, really horrible. We should just say actually that that was a survey of the airport at London City Airport. They surveyed 232 passengers to come up with those stats. But I think a lot of those we agree with, actually.
A quick question to the pilots that are in the chat room. So obviously Dr. Steph, she's a pilot, and also Captain Jeff.
Yes.
And anyone else in there who flies.
And Captain Nick as well. Don't forget, Mr. Captain.
And Captain Nick as well. Yeah, not forgetting Captain Nick. I just wonder, what about the recline on a flight deck seat? Do you get any kind of recline on a flight deck seat? I don't know. I've never seen that. I don't think you do. It would make the flying of aircraft all that more comfortable, I think.
Well, it certainly would. I'd just say hello to Glenn Towler and also Neil Braden. They're in the chat room at the moment.
Hello, Glenn
as well.
and
Absolutely,
Neil.
yeah.
Greetings from Vegas.
Indeed, absolutely.
Yes.
So anyway, it is time to. We've got no I promoted him then. We've got no pilot Pip this week, sadly. But we're just going to take a very, very quick break before we move on to our military section. And then, as Carl was hinting to earlier,
we've got some massive news. We have got news that's so big that it could probably fill the mountain range to my right at the moment.
Right. Okay.
Yes.
I think Carl might be exaggerating ever so slightly, but we all know that he is rather prone to that. So it's yes. If you're all ready, then, ladies and gentlemen, we're just going to take a very, very quick break, and we'll be right back after these messages.
Find this and other great shows at the Aviation Media Network.
thevoicesinyourhead.com. The Plain Talking UK podcast is a voluntary project that aims to keep you informed with the latest aviation-related stories from newswires across the globe.
Producing our content does cost money though. If you enjoy our show, why not help us keep on the air by making a donation towards the server and website hosting fees through PayPal. Any contributions would be greatly appreciated.
Are you an Amazon user? If so, why not do your shopping through the link on our website? There's no cost to yourself, and Amazon pay us a small referral fee on qualifying purchases.
To find out more about the show and to meet the team, take yourself to our website www.plaintalkinguk.com,
or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/plaintalkinguk, on Twitter via @plaintalkinguk, or get in touch via email on podcast@plaintalkinguk.com. Thanks for listening.
Aviation media has long been the domain of the newspapers and magazines. Well, not anymore. I'm Steve Vischer.
And I'm Grant McCarran, and we're bringing aviation right into your radio.
Yes, we're making aviation cool and interesting for everyone.
Hang on, aviation's always been cool. Check this out.
How cool is this?
Grant, turn that down. Here at Plane Crazy Down Under, we've got pilots, engineers, air traffic controllers, industry leaders, even politicians dropping by to talk to us about the amazing world of aviation right here in Australia and occasionally in New Zealand as well.
Wow, that's cooler than I thought, mate.
Find us at planecrazydownunder.com, on iTunes, or lurking about on other people's podcasts just like this one.
We've got crazy accents and lots of great aviation content.
And we promise not to talk about the cricket.
No, never. Not the cricket. Quack, 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 quack. What is cricket anyhow?
Something we win a lot. Oh, there we go.
Oh!
And we're back after that little short coffee break.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes. I've finished my Starbucks now. The Starbucks is completely empty. There is nothing left in here.
Oh dear. Okay.
And you do not want to know how much this latte was either. From the hotel.
I'm almost terrified to ask. Yes.
Yeah. It was that much. The receipt is this big.
Right. Okay.
So, yeah.
Can you tilt your camera down slightly again, please?
Sorry.
You will
There we
keep
go. There we
fiddling
go.
with it. Lovely.
All right.
Excellent. That's good. Okay. Right then. Shall we do this? It's time to do the military
Segment. Yes. So we're going to have bring our military segment to you now. So if you're ready, Matt.
Yes, I'm very much ready here in boring old UK.
Okay then. Let's go. So the first story kicking off this week's military segment is on Flight Global site, and the headline: US Navy seeks 16 more FA-18 Super Hornets. So the US Navy has sought more FA-18 Super Hornets by funding 2 aircraft in fiscal 2017 to replace combat losses, and another 14 in 2018 to maintain capacity as older Hornet units wear out. Concerned about a shortfall in structural sound strike fighters, the Navy has accelerated its procurement of F-35s by funding 64 carrier-based models, 8 more than planned, and keeping the Super Hornet factory in St. Louis, Missouri in production amid lackluster foreign sales. Boeing is counting on the Navy to keep production of the Super Hornet variants, including the EA-18G Growler electronic attack jet, active as it attempts to muster 24 orders per year to keep the line viable. The Navy has budgeted $185 million in its wartime budget for the jets in 2017, and includes $1.3 billion in its 2018 projects for the 14 extra F-18s ordered. I think it's a good decision, says aerospace and defence analyst Wayne Plucker from Frost & Sullivan. It gives them a good strike capability ahead of whatever the F-35C ends up being for them. It's predictable and cost-effective, so in all likelihood it's probably a good decision. Contra-wise, the US Air Force did not lend a helping hand to the Boeing F-15E Strike Eagle and Lockheed F-16 production lines by buying more aircraft, which presents the line from going the way of the dodo bird and becoming extinct. The Air Force does begin retrofitting its F-16s with new active electronically scanned array radars, but does not fund full-up procurement of the latest V model by Lockheed. Plucker believes the F-16 and F-15 remain viable combat platforms when supported by packages of 5th generation F-22 Raptors and F-35 Lightnings, possibly compensating for the F-35 delays. There's a great shot there on this page, actually, Matt, of the F-16s.
Ah, right. No, I can't bring it up for some reason at this end. Sorry.
Oh, okay. Well, have that in your mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
It is a really nice picture there on the Flight Global site.
There are so many buttons for me to press in this studio. You have no idea. I cannot cope. I cannot cope, man.
No, this is a good story because it's good to see that the US Navy are going to carry on using the F-16s and the F-18s, the Super Hornets.
Yeah,
they are a really great aircraft.
Yeah.
Unlike the UK, where we tend to just bin all our great fighter jets and stuff, rather than keep them, such as the Harrier.
Yeah. Actually, did you see that there was a great link floating around on Facebook this week? Actually, do you remember the one that ditched into the sea at Lowestoft?
Oh yeah.
And from an angle that I'd not seen before, actually, and it was a really good shot of it dropping into the sea. It was really good. Well, not good, obviously, because a Harrier dropped in the sea, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, I remember that. That was quite a few years back.
Yeah, it was.
that
2002,
video is on
I think, something like that.
Yeah.
Or was it 2006? No, it must have been 2000. I can't remember. Anyway,
Yeah.
somewhere around about that date. But yes.
So the next story.
Yeah, the next story. Yes, this is on Flight Global again, and the headline is KC-46 demonstrates probe and drogue refueling of the FA-18. Boeing and the Air Force have completed the first KC-46A Pegasus refueling of a combat jet using the next generation tanker's wing-mounted hose and drogue system. The milestone was achieved on the 10th of February when the KC-46 transferred fuel to a US Navy FA-18 at 20,000 feet, says Boeing. On January the 24th, Pegasus completed its first ever aerial refueling by topping up an F-16 during a 5-hour 45-minute sortie over Seattle, Washington. Tanker testers had been preparing to refuel a Boeing C-17 transport shortly after that F-16 demonstration, but those plans were pushed back due to asset availability, a company spokesman says. The FA-18 refueling milestone is one of many coming up for the KC-46 program as it completes a low-rate production readiness review by the US government. This step ticks off the requirement to demonstrate refueling of a light, fast jet. And I'm just going to pop that photograph up on there because that is an absolutely stunning photo of the. I presume is that the FA-18 underneath it? I think, isn't it, being refueled by the KC-46? That is stunning stuff. But yes, the story goes on. It says the next step could be to demonstrate aerial refueling of the KC-46 by another Air Force KC-10, or perhaps refueling of a C-17 or an AV-8B Harrier II. KC-46 entered development in 2011 with a contract for 4 test assets, including 2 baseline 767-2Cs and 2 fully capable aerial tankers. The Air Force wants 179 new tankers and will order the remaining 175 across 13 planned production lots. 2 low-rate initial production contracts for 7 and 12 aircraft are expected by mid-year. So that's really quite cool. I'm just going to pop these other 2 extra photos up because, as I say, this really is something just absolutely unbelievable stuff. Really, it's,
where are we? Go back to this. Here we go. The KC-46, for those of you in the chat room and those of you listening as well, most of you will know that the KC-46 is based on the Boeing 767, very, very popular passenger carrying aircraft. But as you said, Matt, these are obviously used for the refueling of aircraft and also for carrying troop transport as well. I think these do as well. But the primary user being the United States Air Force.
Yeah.
And if you want to buy one of these, that'll cost you
a $5? Yeah.
About $188 million.
Wow.
If you want to buy one of these.
Right. Yeah. It's sort of off the peg. Yeah.
Off the peg, yeah. But yeah, it's a fantastic. It proves again that a passenger aircraft is quite a brilliant option to use for tankering, as is the A330. Because obviously the A330 is used by the Royal Air Force in the UK, which is called the Voyager.
Yes,
and which is the tanker version of the A330 Airbus.
Actually, Tony's just said bring back the VC-10.
Yeah, very true. VC-10,
there,
very good. I will be biased and say bring back the TriStar, but that's just me.
Right.
But no, the VC-10, another iconic aircraft, definitely. Yeah.
Absolutely, yes.
So the last story on
the
gov.uk site, and this headline: £20 million contract to refurbish RAF Valley runway awarded. So the Department of Defence has awarded a contract to refurbish one of the 2 runways at RAF Valley to a joint venture of Northstone and White Mountain. The contract, worth £20 million, is to refurbish the runway as well as link taxiways and provide new section airside perimeter roads, new visual aids, aeronautical lighting and signage. The station is primarily a fast jet training base with pilots mostly flying the Hawk aircraft, which is flown by the Red Arrows, as most of you all know.
Yep.
The strength of the existing taxiways is sufficient for Hawk aircraft, but not for other aircraft such as the Hercules, Tornadoes and Typhoons. The runway, which will be refurbished, was last resurfaced in 1995.
Gosh, that was a long time ago.
Oh, yeah. Though there have been temporary repairs to some areas, the new works should extend the life of the runway by a further 25 years. Defence Equipment and Support announced a £1.1 billion investment in fast jet training on site across the UK, including RAF Valley, and that was announced last week. Alan Backer, DIO's Department of Defence's project manager, said that we are pleased to have awarded the contract for the work at RAF Valley and are looking forward to getting underway. Investments in infrastructure to support the armed forces to live, work and train and deploy at RAF Valley will be an important part of that, especially in the light of the investment in fast jet training announced by the Defence Equipment and Support. RAF Valley will remain as an operational station for the majority of the works, with a maximum period of 4 weeks when flying must cease to permit to construct in some areas. Right. The works are expected to take place in just over a year's time, with construction commencing in March this year, completing in February next year in 2017.
Starting next month then, basically.
Yeah. It's a very important base for us in the UK, that one.
Yeah,
obviously used, like I said, is for training the fast jet pilots on the Hawk. Runways need resurfacing. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, absolutely.
As do most of our roads in the UK.
Yeah. I wonder which one's more likely to happen. Anyway,
I think that they'll do the runways before they do anything else. That's one thing I will say about here in the States, is that their roads out here, Matt, are a lot more
smoother,
comfortable.
Yes. Absolutely. Yeah. I'd love to be driving a coach up and down the highways.
Oh, you'd love it.
Yeah,
you
absolutely.
Would love it.
Yeah,
you'd love it. There's a coach here called the Deuce.
Really?
Which is the one that goes up and down the strip in Vegas here, and it's the Deuce. They do an express one and like a normal one that stops everywhere.
Yeah.
But the express one you'd love, because the driver's section is completely kind of closed off to the rest of the coach. They kind of just sit there and
that's what I like to hear. Yeah, Neil Braden's just actually said, going back to the story we were talking about a moment ago, saying Valley has 2 pretty cool viewing areas, one in a car park and one on sand dunes on the runway 11 approach. That must be quite a cool sight, as you say. Yeah, definitely. So that's where we bring the military section to a close. Now I'm going to hand over to Carl, because I'm not quite sure how you want to announce this, but obviously next week, ladies and gentlemen, is our 100th
show.
100 shows, which is really quite scary. And last week, just before you went away to Vegas, we had a little road trip, didn't we, sir? Because we did. We've been looking for some venues because we wanted to do something a bit different, and I've hopefully developed a system that enables us to do an outside broadcast. So with that in mind, I shall hand you over to Carl, who will fill you in on all the details.
Right, so if you're all ready, this is the news we've got for you then. So basically, as Matt said, last week we had a road trip and we visited one of our local museums, actually, which is just up the road from where we live.
Yeah.
And it's the Norwich Aviation Museum. Yeah. And we had a look around some various aircraft.
We did.
And we spoke to one of the chaps there who works at the museum, and also through him we obviously got contact with the chairman of the museum, and they have very kindly allowed us to hold or to broadcast our 100th episode from the cockpit or the flight deck of the Avro Vulcan XM612. which is one of the static display aircraft they have. It's a complete Vulcan, a whole entire Avro Vulcan aircraft, like XH558, as most of you will know the Vulcan XH558. This is XM612. This is one of the aircraft that also went down to the Falklands.
Yeah.
This flew down to the Falklands, and also holds a special point for me because this aircraft also flew to the island of Malta and landed at Lucca Airport.
Which is why you went a funny colour when you researched that. When you got home, you got a bit excited, didn't you?
So the guys at the museum have very kindly allowed us to, we are literally taking over the aircraft for a couple of hours. Because obviously this is a static display, and this is obviously open to the public. You are, as a public, you can pay a very small donation to the museum, and you can go on board the Vulcan and go up the steps just behind the nose wheel of the aircraft to view inside the Vulcan. So, and then me and Matt are going to be sitting up there at the navigators and the table at the rear of the cockpit, where there's well, we hope that there is plenty of room. We have
done a recce. Yes, absolutely.
We're gonna broadcast. Fingers crossed. Hopefully, we've checked the 4G. The 4G network is very good there. We're going to bring the live show from the Avro Vulcan XM612.
Now, obviously, with this in mind, the Norwich Aviation Museum is open to the public. So, if anybody would like to come and join us at the Norwich Aviation Museum, then make sure you leave us a message on Facebook. There is, I can't remember how much it was to get in. It wasn't very expensive, was it?
No, it's not very expensive. No, I think it was £4 or something. Something like £4, I think it is to get in.
Yeah, absolutely.
It might be less than that. It's about £4 to get into the museum at Norwich, and they're also. I mean, there's some great static displays there, and one of the aircraft that we were offered as well to do a show in as well was the
Nimrod,
Royal Air Force Nimrod,
absolutely.
actual Nimrod aircraft, which they've got a whole entire Nimrod there at the museum as well, which you can see obviously at the museum, and you also go inside that aircraft as well.
Yeah, definitely. So anyone who's listening to this and is going to be in or can make their way to the Norwich area, we'll be more than delighted to see you.
Yeah. If any of the listeners,
we've got David Corston. He says he's going to be there, so that's very exciting. He's going to join us there. But that's So it's not very far away from Norwich Airport, basically. And
it's literally tucked round the back of Norwich Airport near us.
Yeah.
There are road signs there, and you can go on the website as well. You can see the Norwich Aviation Museum. You can find the details on where the museum is. But we will put some info on our Facebook page.
We will,
which you can click on, and we'll put the details on there as to if you're gonna come and see us. You can come and see us there. It'd be great to see some of the listeners. We're not sure whether we'll be able to fit any more people in the
absolutely
in the cockpit of the aircraft, but it'd be great to get some audio feedback and audio from you guys using our on-site recording stuff. So
absolutely. Cool. And also, with that in mind, I'd like to try and get organised by Friday of this week. So I'm not, depending on when you're listening to it, but we're recording this at the moment, and it's the 13th. So it is Saturday, the 13th
today
of February. Obviously, it's Valentine's Day tomorrow, everyone.
Well, we fly home tomorrow.
Absolutely. But if you'd like to send us a congratulations message or anything like that, we'd love to get your audio feedback, please. And if you can try and get that to us by Friday, so that would be, let me just look at the date, so that would be Friday the 19th. If you can try and get it to us by Friday the 19th of February, then I promise you it will be included in our special celebratory 100th episode. It's, as I say, it's really, really exciting. I literally cannot wait to be sitting in the navigation
one of the most iconic aircraft. Absolutely. In military aviation in the UK. This is, and they have very, very kindly allowed us, like I said, to record the show, sitting inside the aircraft.
In the aircraft, which is going to be really cool. So, as I say, if you can join us, obviously the chat room will, hopefully, technology permitting, everything will be functioning as normal. So please do join us in the chat room as normal. If you're not able to make it there, we want to try and make it as special an event as we can. But if you're there, if you are able to make
Neil.
it, then that would be fantastic.
Neil's put in the chat room, congrats on you and the AVG gang for taking podcasting to a new level. No, really, honestly, guys, we really do appreciate your feedback and stuff, and we really, really appreciate everyone who tunes in every week to listen to me and Matt, and obviously APG as well. We absolutely love all the feedback we do get from you guys and in the chat room, as well as the emails we get from you as well. So
the ways to get the stuff to us, obviously.
Sorry,
so our main website.
Just watching an Alaska Airlines 737 just go past. Sorry, carry on.
He really is an aviation geek, isn't he, ladies and gentlemen? It is, in fact, actually, why am I saying that? I'm the minority here. I'm the one that doesn't know anything about aeroplanes. But anyway, my technical prowess will hopefully let me get away with that. It is to get in touch with the show. It is www.planetalkinguk.com. Facebook, it's facebook.com/planetalkinguk. Twitter, our Twitter handle is @planetalkinguk. And don't forget the email address where you can send us all the information. You can contact us any time of the day or night. We really don't mind. If we're awake, one of us will reply. And please do get your audio feedback, because we want to include as much of our as many of our listeners as we can in regard to our congratulatory messages. As I say, 100.
And they need to get that feedback in by
Friday. By Friday, this Friday coming, which I think, as I said, was the 19th, wasn't it?
I'll just check as well on my calendar. I think it's the 19th. Yeah,
it is
Friday,
19th.
the 19th. So get your feedback, your audio feedback in by the 19th of February.
And that's purely and simply so that I've got time to edit it, because I don't really want to be doing it when we're trying to set up in the Vulcan. It's very selfish of me, I know.
And don't forget, for those of you guys following us on Facebook, we'll put the links and all the information on the Facebook page as to where, if you are anywhere near where we're going to record, you can come up and see us.
Absolutely.
And join in on our 100th 100th show.
We're hoping to get Simon there as well. So hopefully the whole team will be there. So it is. We haven't heard from Pip yet, but we're hoping. It is. Don't forget, the email address is podcast@planetalkinguk.com. That's where you need to send your messages and your audio feedback and things too. So that's podcast@planetalkinguk.com. Oh, he says putting it in the chat room. Fantastic. So there we go. That is our big news, and exciting times.
We have also on a side note from that, Matt. Matt knows about this because I've told him.
I think we should keep that as a bit of a surprise.
We're not going to say anything else yet, but we have got a very, very massive development happening for the show in the very near future, which is currently in the planning stage.
Absolutely.
And this all comes off the back of the flight that I had over here with Virgin, but it's someone I met on the aircraft. But we're not going to say anything more about that yet. It's still in the planning stage, but it will be a massive development on the show, which we're going to have come up very soon.
Very soon, yes. Okay, so that is, ladies and gentlemen, where we do bring episode number 99, the penultimate one, to our 100th episode. That's where we bring episode number 99 to a close. It's been a bit of a whirlwind here in the studio. So many buttons, I just don't know what to do, frankly.
I'd just like to thank as well. I'd like to say a big thank you to my wife Gemma, who's been very patient.
She has, yes, absolutely.
She's been very patient with me and let me do the show here from Vegas. So thank you to my wife Gemma. I'll just give her a little wave from the table here.
It is Valentine's Day tomorrow.
She's very pointed out there. And
Quite
for
right.
Valentine's Day, I've given her the best aviation present a man could buy.
Oh, really? Which is?
I have paid for us to have extra legroom seats on the flight back from Minneapolis to London Heathrow.
Fabulous news, ladies and gentlemen. It's nice to know that romance isn't dead, isn't it? Hey, ladies and gentlemen.
I know. I tell you, I know how to spoil my wife.
You do, don't you? Absolutely.
And Captain Jeff says, "Hello, Gemma."
Hello, Jeff.
Yeah. Anyway, that's it, ladies and gentlemen. We'll let Carlos go back to his well-deserved holiday. Love to Gemma for me, please. And from all of us here in the studio and, of course, in the rather glamorous location of Las Vegas. Carl, time to say goodbye.
Goodbye, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And don't forget, next week, we'll put the links in Facebook. Bye.
Absolutely. Goodbye, everyone. Goodbye.
Bye.